Very good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha Television. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor with you. India's next president is to be named today. The counting will begin at 11 in the morning. That is our big focus through the day today on Rajya Sabha Television. Here are this morning's headlines. Counting in presidential polls to be held from 11 a.m. today. Contest between Ram Nath Kovind and Meera Kumar. Results likely by 5 p.m. Discussion on lynching and atrocities on minorities and Dalits in the upper house. Ruling party MPs refute allegations that perpetrators were given a free hand. United States lists Pakistan among nations that provide safe havens to terrorists. Says India continues to be victim of attacks by Pakistan-based terrorists. T.R. Zeliang is the new Chief Minister of Nagaland, has to prove majority on or before 22nd of July. Shirozeli Lizitsu fails to face a floor test on Wednesday. And India to take on six-time champion Australia in the second semi-final of the ICC Women's World Cup in England. Must win for India to reach the final. The top story of the day, counting for the presidential election held on Monday, will take place today. The counting of ballots will begin at 11 a.m. and the results will be known by 5 in the evening. Now, according to Lok Sabha Secretary General Anup Mishra, who is also the returning officer of the election, first the ballot box of Parliament House would be opened and then the ballot boxes received from states would be counted on alphabetical basis. The votes would be counted on 4 separate tables and there would be 8 rounds of counting. Now, close to 99% voting recorded for electing India's next president. The numbers are stacked in favor of the ruling coalition's nominee Ram Nath Kovind over the opposition's candidate Meera Kumar. Of course, that is one big story that we'll keep tracking through the day. Let's move on in the bulletin now. A short duration discussion on the reported increase in the incidents of lynching and atrocities on minorities and Dalits was initiated in the Rajya Sabha on Wednesday. Now, the opposition alleged that the perpetrators of violence were given a free hand. The government, however, urged the opposition to refrain from giving a religious color to such incidents.
Leading the opposition charge against the government on the recent mob lynching, leader of opposition in the Rajya Sabha, Ghulam Nabi Azad, claimed that members of the ruling dispensation were involved in the violence in the name of crowd protection.
ये इसलिए किया जा रहा है कि एक इसमें किसी भी विपक्ष की पार्टी को फायदा नहीं हो रहा है इस लिंचिंग से। एक पॉलिटिकल पार्टी है, रूलिंग पॉलिटिकल पार्टी जिसको ये फायदा हो रहा है। This is just to harvest the political harvesting के लिए हो रहा।
Naresh Agrawal of the Samajwadi Party said that the cattle transport business suffered a debilitating blow due to cow vigilantism. Sitaram Yechuri of the CPM demanded stern action by the centre against the hooliganism of private armies in the name of cow protection.
क्योंकि खरीदार कोई है नहीं, गरीब आदमी उन गाय को जो दूध नहीं दे सकता उसको पाले कैसे? सरकार ने कोई व्यवस्था नहीं करी उनके खाने पीने की। आज गांव के किसानों के लिए नील गाय, बन गाय और छुट्टा गाय एक इतनी बड़ी समस्या हो गई है।
Ask for a ban on these vigilante groups of all natures. It is moral policing, whether it's cow vigilantism, who are resorting to such actions. These groups must be banned by a central order. And that is the demand my party would like to make to the government.
Minister of State for Parliamentary Affairs Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi refuted the opposition's charge while denying that no action was taken against the perpetrators involved in the lynching incidents.
जो ताकतें की ये सोचती हैं कि हम इस तरह के फैब्रिकेटेड इश्यूज के माध्यम से इस तरह के आपराधिक घटनाओं को एक बड़ा बात का बतंगड़ बना करके इस तरह की आपराधिक और जघन्य आपराधिक घटनाओं को सांप्रदायिकता का रूप दे करके मोदी सरकार मोदी सरकार के एजेंडे को नुकसान पहुंचाएंगे। ये उनकी गलतफहमी है।
Earlier, the issue of cow vigilantism also resonated during question hour.
एक नई परंपरा चल गई है, एक नई व्यवस्था इस देश में आ गई है, जहां नफरत के बीज बोने के कारण एक टारगेटेड भीड़ तंत्र द्वारा मॉब लिंचिंग हो रही है।
Minister of State for Home Affairs Hans Raj Ahir informed the House that the government had issued an advisory to the state governments to file FIRs in all incidents happening in the name of cow protection.
लेकिन गोवंश को लेकर जो घटनाएं हो रही है ये बहुत दुखद है, इसको तुरंत रोकना चाहिए। ऐसे गोवंश के नाम से जो हंगामा करते हैं उन पे कार्रवाई करने के लिए उन्होंने बार-बार अपील की है और आपने कहा उसी अनुसार फिर मैं दोहराता हूं कि होम मिनिस्ट्री से एडवाइजरी निकल चुकी है। सम्माननीय राजनाथ सिंह ने उसके बारे में आदेश दिया है।
Dissatisfied with the government's response, Samajwadi Party members trooped into the well of the House, prompting the chair to adjourn the House for 10 minutes.
House is adjourned for 10 minutes.
With inputs from Vishal Daya and Panchanan Mishra, Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And opposition members in Rajya Sabha also voiced their concern over agrarian crisis and the spate of farmers' suicides in the country. They claimed that the farmers were compelled to resort to distress sales. The chair also admitted the seriousness of the matter. Here are the details.
Opposition members expressed grave concern over agriculture crisis and farmers' issue in the upper house on Wednesday. Raising the issues during Zero Hour, JDU MP Sharad Yadav said the condition of the farmers in the country was deteriorating. He said pulses production has been raised by 33%, but the government has lowered the import duty to zero, resulting in cheaper shipments into the country.
425 रुपए अरहर पर, उड़द पर, ये तीनों दालों के दाम बढ़ाए आपने, डिस्ट्रेस सेल हो रहा, जीरो इंपोर्ट में आपने गेहूं को 10% बढ़ाया। मैं उस पर नहीं कहना चाहता, लेकिन किसानों ने मेहनत करके, ये शरद पवार जी बैठे हैं, हाँ पूरी मेहनत करके सदन ने, पूरी सरकारों ने, यूपीए सरकार ने 33% दाल के किसान जो है उनको उत्पादन बढ़ाया। शॉर्ट ड्यूरेशन डिस्कशन हो जाएगा। इतनी मेहनत करके जान सटा करके किसानों ने उत्पादन किया, उसकी कीमत नहीं मिल रही है।
Also speaking on the issue, Congress's Digvijay Singh alleged that farmers were getting bullets instead of fair price, while Ali Anwar Ansari of the JDU argued that the NPAs of corporate companies run in several lakh crores, but small farmers commit suicide under financial distress over just thousands of rupees.
150 से ज्यादा किसान संगठन आज जंतर मंतर पर बैठे हुए कल से पूरे देश के, और जैसा कि शरद यादव जी ने कहा है, इसलिए हम डिस्कशन करना है। समस्या पूरा देशव्यापी है, लेकिन सरकार मौन है।
8 करोड़ रुपया एनपीए का जमा है कारपोरेट घरानों के पास, बड़े सरमाएदार पूंजी पर। वो सुसाइड करता है, सुसाइड कर रहा है।
Let me come back to 267. Let me come.
सर उसके लिए
267.
ये बहुत गंभीर मामला है सर।
Let me come back to 267.
बच्चे आए थे, उनकी विधवाएं आई थी, रही है, रो रही है।
Let me come back to 267.
As several members tendered notices under Rule 267 to allow adjournment of the proceedings to take up a discussion on the agrarian crisis, Deputy Chair PJ Kurian assured the House that a discussion on the matter has been accepted and the members can raise the concern during the debate.
I am not disputing it. I will examine it. Okay.
Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
News from Lok Sabha now, and a bill to grant statutory status to the Indian Institutes of Information Technology or IITs in a PPP mode was passed by the Lok Sabha on Wednesday. Replying to a debate on the bill, HRD Minister Prakash Javadekar said that under the new provisions, fee for the poor students will not increase and the reservation law would also apply. The IIT Public-Private Partnership Bill 2017 seeks to grant a statutory status to 15 IITs and declare them as institutions of national importance. It also seeks to enable these institutions to grant degrees to their students in the academic courses conducted by them.
बदल रही दुनिया बहुत गति से, उसके लिए आधुनिक शिक्षा चाहिए, उसके संस्थान नेशनल इंपॉर्टेंस के करने चाहिए, इसलिए बिल, और इसमें सबकी भागीदारी चाहिए। प्राइवेट पार्टनरशिप का महत्व कम ना करो। नैनो टेक्नोलॉजी आ रही है, इंटरनेट ऑफ एवरीथिंग आ रहा है, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस आ रहा है, 3D प्रिंटिंग आ रहा है, रोबोटिक्स आ रहा है। स्टूडेंट्स को ये सब सीखने का मौका होना चाहिए।
And the Parliamentary Panel on Finance is likely to finalize its report on demonetization of high-value currency notes today. The Standing Committee on Finance, headed by senior Congress leader M. Veerappa Moily, is planning to submit its report to Parliament during the ongoing monsoon session. Now, PTI is quoting sources as saying that in its final meeting on demonetization today, the panel has called representatives of the IT industry body NASSCOM for a presentation on digital payments and the government's think tank Niti Aayog on policy-related issues. The committee had already taken the views of the RBI Governor Urjit Patel and senior officials of the Finance Ministry on the government's decision to scrap old 500 and 1,000 rupee notes from 9th of November last year. And the Union Cabinet has approved a draft bill to replace ordinances that were promulgated to introduce the Goods and Services Tax in Jammu and Kashmir. Now, earlier this month, the centre had promulgated ordinance to make the central GST and integrated GST applicable to the state. The bill will be introduced in the current session of Parliament. The Cabinet also approved the sale of the government's stake in Hindustan Petroleum Corporation Limited to Oil and Natural Gas Corporation. The government also tweaked guidelines to broaden the scope of a fund to help overseas Indians in times of emergency and distress. The Cabinet decided to revise the guidelines for the Indian Community Welfare Fund. The revised guidelines are now being made to broad-based to expand the scope of welfare measures that can be extended through the fund. The Cabinet also cleared a 15% hike for salaries for public sector company employees. Big story coming in from Nagaland, where Naga People's Front leader T.R. Zeliang on Wednesday took oath as the new Chief Minister of Nagaland. Now, this comes 5 months after he resigned from the Chief Minister's post. Now, Governor P.B. Acharya administered him the oath of office. The Governor has asked him to prove his majority on or before 22nd of July. Meanwhile, within hours of the oath-taking, the NPF expelled Zeliang for 6 years for anti-party activities. Zeliang, however, maintained that he would continue to remain the NPF leader in the House. Zeliang was appointed as the Chief Minister by Governor as the incumbent Chief Minister Shurozeli Lizitsu and his supporters failed to turn up in the Assembly to face a floor test on Wednesday. This led the Speaker to adjourn the House sine die. Now, Lizitsu is facing a rebellion from his party MLAs, which prompted Governor Acharya to direct the Speaker to conduct a floor test. Interestingly, T.R. Zeliang had resigned from the Chief Minister's post in February this year after party legislators withdrew their support over protests against the local polls. And in Breakfast News, time for a very short break. We'll be right back with more news. Stay tuned.
It was in India that I got Bhatnagar Prize for work on this same DNA. Now we know that this RNA is very important. Yes, I can feel very happy. Whole of the world is now jumping off with this non-coding DNA. I got involved in what has been named as Ayurvedic biology.
Watch Eureka with Dr. Subhash Chandra Lakhotia, Professor at Zoology Department at Banaras Hindu University, only on Rajya Sabha Television.
आजादी की जंग लड़ने वाले मेरे दोस्तों, आजादी चाहिए तो उसकी कीमत खून देके चुकानी होगी। तुम मुझे खून दो, मैं तुम्हें आजादी दूंगा।
आईएनए की बागी फौजियों पर अंग्रेज देशद्रोह का मुकदमा चलाएंगे। उन तीनों के बचने के चांसेस कम हैं।
This trial and its judgment will be remembered throughout history.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, a 9-judge Constitution bench of the Supreme Court will continue hearing arguments to determine if the right to privacy is a fundamental right under the Constitution. On Wednesday, the court observed that right to privacy is not absolute. The court also asked the advocate representing the petitioners on what privacy entails. Justice J. Chandrachud said that every right to make a decision may not be a part of the right to privacy.
Arguing for the petitioner, senior advocate Gopal Subramaniam initiated the hearing, stating that the right to life and liberty are pre-existing natural rights. Pointing out that liberty is the fundamental value of our constitution, he said that life and liberty are natural existing rights in our constitution. The senior advocate then asked if liberty can be experienced without privacy, and can liberty be exercised without privacy, at least with regard to all the fundamental rights of the constitution. Subramaniam pointed out that some preambular values are meant to be read with fundamental rights. Further, the preamble contains expressions from the American Constitution and continental countries. The 9-member bench is dealing with the limited issue of the right to privacy, while matters challenging the Aadhaar scheme itself will be referred back to a smaller bench. The bench, headed by Chief Justice J.S. Kheher, has Justices J. Chelameshwar, S.A. Bobde, R.K. Agarwal, Rohinton Fali Nariman, Abhay Manohar Sapre, D.Y. Chandrachud, Sanjay Kishan Kaul and S. Abdul Nazir. The Apex Court had set up the Constitution Bench on Tuesday after a 5-judge bench referred the matter to a larger bench. The 5-judge Constitution Bench, headed by the CJI, was confronted with 2 past verdicts delivered by larger benches in 1950 and 1962, which held that the right to privacy was not a fundamental right. The Apex Court said the 9-judge bench will deal with the limited issue of right to privacy and the correctness of the 2 judgments. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Big story coming in from Jammu and Kashmir, where a junior commissioned officer was injured in Pakistani firing and he died on Wednesday, while a civilian was wounded in fresh ceasefire violations along the line of control in Poonch and Rajouri belt of Jammu and Kashmir. The Pakistani troops also violated ceasefire along the line of control in Nogam sector for the 2nd consecutive day and in Uri sector as well. According to an army officer, there has been no casualty in these incidents. The official said that the Indian Army is retaliating strongly and effectively. And earlier, the Pakistani Army resorted to unprovoked firing in Nowshera sector. A civilian has been injured in the shelling and has been hospitalized. As per reports, during the past 24 hours, Pakistan violated ceasefire 8 times in Balakot, Poonch, Nowshera, Nogam sectors. Now, 10 people, including 8 soldiers, have been killed and 18 others have been injured in several ceasefire violations by Pakistan this month.
सरकार ये कहे कि हालात सामान्य हो रहे हैं, हालात ठीक हो रहे हैं, तो ये दावा सरासर गलत है। केंद्रीय सरकार और राज्य सरकार पूरी तरह से असफल हुए हैं जम्मू कश्मीर में हालात ठीक करने में।
जवाबी कार्रवाई इस बार भारत की ओर से हो रही है, ये कई बरसों से नहीं देखने को मिली, चाहे वो सीमा के ऊपर है, चाहे सीमा के भीतर। सीमा के भीतर भी आतंकवादियों पर बहुत अधिक दबाव पड़ा हुआ है, घाटी के भीतर भी और दूसरे क्षेत्रों में भी। और इसका ये भी एक सुखद परिणाम है कि सेना बलों का, अर्धसेना बलों का मनोबल बड़े ऊंचे स्तर का है।
Let's get to the weather update. Heavy rains and floods continue to wreak havoc in several parts of the country. In Assam, 4 persons died in floods, where the overall situation improved slightly, even as several parts of the country received rains. 2 persons lost lives in Morigaon district and 1 each in Barpeta and Salmara districts. With this, the toll has now gone up to 73, including 8 in Guwahati. Around 5 lakh people have been affected by floods across 14 districts in the state. Meanwhile, floods affected districts of Odisha were limping back to normal. Train services were restored between Raigarh and Theruvali with some restrictions 3 days after floods disrupted the rail movement. As many as 28,000 people in 70 villages have been affected in Raigarh district. Now, relief materials reach the Donogoria Kond tribes in Nilgiri Hill. However, tribal groups of Konda continue to remain cut off from rest of the state as the only bridge connecting the area has been washed away. However, the Met Department has forecast heavy rainfalls at many places in the state and has asked the fishermen not to venture into the sea. Meanwhile, light rainfall was also witnessed in parts of the national capital. which led to an increase in humidity, while the maximum temperature was recorded at 38.4 degrees Celsius. Light to moderate rainfall occurred at many places across Rajasthan as well. Most places in Telangana also continued to receive heavy downpour. Heavy rainfall and thunderstorm also occurred at Vidarbha, Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh, and day temperatures have hovered around normal levels in the region. Meanwhile, Met Department has predicted heavy rainfall during the next 24 hours as well. The United States has listed Pakistan among nations that provide safe havens to terrorists to operate. It also stated that India continued to be a victim of attacks, including by Pakistan-based terrorists and Maoist insurgents. Now, in its annual country report on terrorism, the U.S. State Department said that terror outfits like the Haqqani Network, Lashkar-e-Toiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed continue to operate, train, organize and fundraise in Pakistan. Now, giving the example of LET's chief Hafiz Saeed, the report said that the UN-designated terrorists continued to address large rallies in Pakistan. Now, this despite Pakistan proscribing him under the Anti-Terrorism Act in February 2017. The report said that while Pakistani security forces undertook operations against the groups that conducted attacks within Pakistan, such as Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, it did not take sufficient action against the extremely focused groups that continue to exist in the country, like the Afghan Taliban, Haqqani Network, JEM and LET. The line taken by US is an extension from the joint statement issued after the summit-level meeting between US President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Narendra Modi during the latest US's visit in June this year. In the joint statement, Modi and Trump had asserted that the terrorist safe havens should be rooted out from every part of the world. Let's get you some more news from across the globe in World Wrap. 32 million Americans would lose their health insurance by 2026 if Obamacare is repealed without a replacement, the Congressional Budget Office has forecast. This comes as US President Donald Trump pushed fellow Senate Republicans to reach an agreement on overhauling the country's health care law. The Republican-controlled Senate has twice failed to pass a health care bill. Its members plan to vote next week on a plan to repeal the law. Embattled Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif on Wednesday contested the graft charges against him and his family in the Supreme Court. Now, Sharif said that Panama Pro panel did not produce any documents to prove that he was the owner of the London flats, which are at the centre of the high-profile case. The Apex Court had started hearing on the scandal on Monday after the JIT recommended that a corruption case be filed against Sharif and his family for alleged money laundering. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani said on Wednesday that Tehran would respond appropriately to the new US sanctions. However, he added that it remained committed to its nuclear deal with the world powers. His comments came a day after the US and Iran traded tit-for-tat sanctions over the Islamic Republic's ballistic missile program. At least 30 civilians were killed on Wednesday in separate bombing raids by the US-led coalition and pro-regime warplanes in Syria. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said that 15 of the victims died in coalition airstrikes on a village near the Islamic State group's stronghold of Raqqa, while suspected Russian airstrikes killed another 15 civilians in IS-held village in province of Deir ez-Zor. More than 3 lakh people have died since Syrian conflict erupted in 2011. And Berlin on Wednesday summoned Turkey's ambassador over the detention of a German human rights activist, Peter Stüdner. Now, Berlin demanded Stüdner's immediate release as well as consular access. A Turkish court has ordered 6 human rights activists, including Stüdner, to remain in custody for allegedly aiding a terror group. German Chancellor Angela Merkel has criticized the detention of the activists as unjustified. Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari on Wednesday presented the Lok Mat Awards to selected parliamentarians. The event was attended by former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh, Transport Minister Nitin Gadkari, NDA's vice presidential candidate Venkaiah Naidu, Congress leader Mallikarjun Kharge and other top leaders. Now, senior BJP leader L.K. Advani and JDU's Rajya Sabha member Sharad Yadav were also present, and they were presented the Lifetime Achievement Awards for their exemplary contribution in Parliament. Now, other parliamentarians including Meenakshi Lekhi, Sitaram Yechuri, Jaya Bachchan were also honoured in various categories.
First and foremost, must believe in democracy. Our Constitution provides a framework for our democracy. A framework is one aspect, its spirit is another and more important aspect. It is the duty of the elected representatives of the people of India to prevent erosion of the vitality and spirit of democracy that is the lifeblood of our Parliament.
The felicitation is to give inspiration to others to follow the great ideals set up by these great people.
On to some cricket news now, when India will take on six-time champion Australia in the second semi-final of the ICC Women's World Cup at Derby in England today. Now, India have a poor record against Australia, having lost 34 out of 42 games that the two teams have played so far. The match is important for India to win as it ensures its entry into the summit clash against the hosts England at the Lords. The match will also provide India a chance to avenge their 8-wicket loss to Australia just a week ago in Bristol. The match will begin at 3 p.m.
Here's another big shot. Poonam Rao this time.
And in the men's cricket, Virat Kohli and Ravi Shastri officially started a new innings as captain and head coach of the Indian cricket team on Wednesday. Before leaving for the Sri Lanka tour as a unit, the two addressed a press conference in Mumbai. While the two spoke about Shastri's appointment and confusion surrounding the naming of the support staff. Shastri in particular defended the choice of Bharat Arun as the coach, saying that he had immense coaching experience.
There's a track record. 15 years his life has been coaching, right? And you look at that track record. It's outstanding. You know, right from junior level to A teams, to Indian Junior World Cup teams, he's been part of. He knows these boys better than I do.
This is Ravi Shastri's second innings with the Indian team. He was the team director from 2014 to 2016. The Indian team is coming from a successful series in the Caribbean and are confident going into the series against Sri Lanka. The series in the island nation starts on 26th of July.
जैसे कि मैंने बोला कि हम पहले साथ काम कर चुके हैं, तो हमें पता है कि what's expected, what's going to be on the plate, और जो पहले हमारे लिए काम किया है, तो मुझे नहीं लगता कि उस चीज़ में एफर्ट लगेगा समझने में, क्योंकि जैसे मैंने बोला कि पहले काम कर चुके हैं साथ में.
The team has done exceedingly well over 3 years, and they are the people who deserve the credit more than anybody else. These Ravi Shastris, Anil Kumble's will come and go. Okay? The fabric of Indian cricket will remain, and the credit should go to everyone who's participated in this Indian team.
That's it in this edition of news. So thanks so much for watching. Have a great day ahead.